Entitled parent loses it because I won't give their kid extra fries for free, by user MoonlitDesires07. So, this happened yesterday at the fast food place I work at. I'm on the register, taking orders, when a mom and her kid come up. The kid orders a kid's meal, and I tell them the total. The mom immediately interrupts and goes, "Wait, can you just give him a second order of fries? He'll share with his little brother, but I don't want to pay extra." I politely tell her that each meal comes with its own fries, and any extras have to be purchased separately. She huffs, leans over the counter, and says, "But he's a child. It's not fair to make kids pay for fries. Don't you have a heart?" I tried to stay calm and explained again that the policy is the same for everyone, kids included. Then she raises her voice, calls me ridiculous, and demands to see the manager. Manager comes over, I explain the situation, and the mom storms off, muttering something about child discrimination. Her kid was happily munching on their regular fries the whole time. Honestly, it was so frustrating and ridiculous that I almost laughed after she left. I just don't get how some parents think the world owes their kids free snacks. Entitled tourists get mad I swore at them in front of their child after they followed and harassed me and my cat on a walk in Reykjavik, by user Capable Assist 2080. To preface this, I live in Iceland. During this time I lived in downtown Reykjavik and there are a lot of tourists in that area daily. A lot of them can be entitled and rude towards locals and kinda treat us like a zoo or as if we're in the way somehow by being there and living our lives while they are posing for photos right in the middle of where people are walking or where cars are driving. Thousands of tourists are going to a beach that is closed off with a bunch of warning signs, some of them with flashing red lights to warn people from not going close to the water or going there at all, and climbing over rocks to go past fences that are there for safety just to pose in front of the waves and put their life or their children's lives, that have no say in this and are innocent in all of this, at risk for no reason other than a photo opportunity. This is probably common in other places with a lot of tourists, but I'm just trying to explain our POV as people that live here and need to live our lives around this type of entitled behavior on almost a daily basis, especially when you live in downtown Reykjavik. During this day I was walking my cat on a leash downtown and we had been stopped multiple times by tourists asking if they can pet her, which I don't mind, but I always just tell them to go ahead unless my cat clearly doesn't want to be pet. I always thank them for asking though and for respecting my cat in that way. So she wasn't in a mood to be pet on the way back home after being stopped so many times. On our way back home we were walking up Sklavrustgur and were right at the bottom by the Rainbow Street when I hear an American accent very closely behind me saying, "Are you going to go and pet the kitty? Go and pet the kitty," in a way that they were clearly talking to a child. I turn around and see a child walking ahead of their family and going for my cat. The child tries to grab my cat but I step in between them and say kindly no and that my cat doesn't want to be pet right now. I move closer to the wall and make room to let the family pass by us. We get a bit further up the street when the family slows down and we pass them. I have headphones on but I have them only over one ear to still be able to hear my surroundings, so I hear them again pushing their kid to go and pet my cat once they're behind me. I again kindly say no and make room to let them pass in front of us. But they don't go, they stay behind us and keep asking their kid, "Are you going to go and pet the kitty?" in a sing-songy voice. They followed us for around 10 minutes up Sklavrustgur and I continuously had to tell them no and step between them and my cat, and I picked her periodically up while we waited for them to leave, but I let her go down on the ground again because she wanted to walk herself since she knew the route home. We passed them once again after they stopped walking for no apparent reason and the kid runs up to us from behind and grabs at my cat's tail and she hisses at him and gives warning scratches in the air. She didn't scratch him or bite him or anything like that, but she was giving very clear warning signs. I once again step in between them and pick my cat up and I ask the parents to "Get your effing kid," and then tell them to leave us alone and stop harassing us and following us. I rolled them that I gave them multiple opportunities to go ahead of us, but they kept on stopping for no reason just to get behind us to continue letting their kid try to grab at my cat, so they are harassing us at this point. The parents didn't try to deny harassing us or following us, and the only thing that stuck with them is the fact that I swore in front of their kid. Which means they are now yelling at me for swearing and they get in my face for some reason. I simply said that I wouldn't have had to swear if they had listened to me the last 10 minutes, kindly telling them no and asking them to leave us alone when I still had patience before they actually let their kid physically grab my cat's tail without doing anything to stop him. I'm still holding my cat, so I just walk away and try to hold my cat the rest of the walk home, which at this point is maybe 5 more minutes. They luckily didn't follow us the rest of the way home, but I was fuming the rest of the walk. We have been in situations where people get mad if I said my cat doesn't want to be pet that exact moment, People have tried to pick up my cat without permission and we've had things shouted at us, but this was another level of entitlement in my opinion compared to the people we had encountered before this. I didn't blow up at them or anything, so maybe this isn't juicy enough for some people or a satisfying ending or conclusion to the story, but this is what happened. I don't blame the kids since their parents were telling them to pet my cat, but I do blame the parents for clearly not respecting boundaries and for acting as if being told no doesn't apply to them. Just please, if you are traveling to other countries, respect the locals, and if you travel to Iceland, then pro tip, respect the nature as well as the locals, because we are getting so tired of entitled tourists that come here and don't show respect to anyone or anything. Watched a lady have a meltdown over McDonald's monopoly, by user Awkward Little Mush. Not sure if this belongs here since this woman's behavior didn't directly link to her child. But she was entitled and a parent, so here goes. For those who don't know, today is the final day of McDonald's monopoly in England, unsure about the status in the rest of the UK/world. Since it's coming to a close, they've not restocked the containers that have the stickers, so for the last week or so there was a chance you'd get normal containers instead of the monopoly ones if the location ran out. Before anyone judges, I occasionally get a hot drink before work and it's the only thing open that early. I don't eat fast food that often. Today I finished early and decided to treat myself to some nuggets. When I sat down with my food, I noticed a woman having an argument with a worker, whilst her teenage son looked mortified. She was loudly and rudely, but not yet quite the level of a full Karen, telling the worker that she'd ruined her day and her son's, they were discriminating against them, the McDonald's was awful, and that she would never return. What was the problem? The meals that she and her son got had no stickers. The worker then got who I assumed was the manager, who very politely told the lady that, as it was the last day, they've run out of the stickers and aren't getting in any more. The lady then pointed at me and said she has stickers. Why did she get stickers and I didn't? The manager looked at my table, as I pretended to be minding my own business, and back at the lady, and said that maybe it was because I had a large meal and she got mediums, so there might have been some large containers with stickers left but no mediums. This set the lady off even more, who just kept loudly complaining that it wasn't fair, that they probably did it on purpose, they were trying to scam people into spending more money on their food with the promise of stickers. She's having a hard time, the stickers were meant to cheer her up, they only came for the stickers, she's going to leave a review, etc. etc. The manager apologized and left, but the lady kept loudly complaining to her son as if the workers had personally conspired against her. Her poor son was trying to calm her down and defend the staff, but she ranted for a good 5 minutes. At this point she'd already finished her meal, but she just wanted to stay and complain to anyone who would listen whilst her son was trying to get her to leave. Whilst she was still ranting as if the workers had desecrated her mother's grave, the manager came back to her table and handed her 2 empty large cups with stickers on them. The manager apologized for the inconvenience, and said she had personality looked for containers with stickers to make up for the lady being upset, and that these were some of the last ones they had. It was like she flipped a switch, the lady became so friendly and polite, thanked the manager for getting her the cups, and told her she'd made her day. At no point did she apologize for insulting the other workers, shouting at people, or making a scene in general. As the manager walked away, the lady smugly told her son, "See? This is what you get if you stand up for yourself." Her son just silently nodded, he looked like he wanted to disappear. She then peeled off the stickers and let out the most dramatic gasp and shout of joy I've heard outside of TV. She won. What did she win? A hash brown. Look. I won a free hash brown. She waved her little sticker in front of her son, who looked even more embarrassed, as if she'd won the jackpot. This is why we came. It was all worth it. They left shortly afterwards, and I finished my meal in peace. I get being disappointed, I also think the Monopoly game is fun. But berating workers over something they have no control over and trying to embarrass them when they're literally just doing their job is insane. Hopefully her son has more manners. Entitled Mom wanted me to spend $200 on her kid's birthday gift, by user Smaldenarly. So, there's this mom I know from back in the day that I went to high school with, who I mostly keep in touch with through Facebook. We were never super close, but we've stayed connected out of habit, hung out here and there when we were both not doing anything. She's one of those people who posts a lot about being a girl boss, self-made strong mom who doesn't need a man or anyone for her daughter and her daughter, who just turned 5. A few weeks ago she messaged me about her kid's birthday party. The party was going to be at McDonald's because that's where the little one wanted it, which honestly I thought was kind of sweet. Then she mentioned this $200 Barbie dream house that her daughter has been crying and begging for and said she was hoping some of her friends could chip in or take care of it. She asked if I could be the one to buy it. I told her I wasn't really in a position to spend that much, especially on a kid I've met maybe 5 or 6 times. I said I'd still love to come to the party and bring a smaller gift, but that was it. A day or so later I saw a post on her Facebook that said something like, "Funny how some people say they'll always be there, but can't even come through for your baby once." There were emojis and hashtags about fake friends and disappointment. I didn't comment or anything, but several people jumped in to agree with her. I just kind of rolled my eyes and moved on. I get wanting your kid to have a good birthday, but expecting your friends to drop $200 like it's nothing? That's not how being a friend works. Lady, control your kid, I just said hey and suddenly I'm the bad guy, by user serious_garbage 3325. A few months ago, I was working as a cashier at a supermarket. It was a slow day, not many customers around, when I suddenly heard the screams of a child somewhere across the store. He looked about 5 or 6 years old, throwing a full-on tantrum. His mom was trying to calm him down by buying him whatever he wanted, and the more she gave, the louder he screamed for more. I was silently praying they wouldn't end up at my register, but of course, the universe said nope. I sighed as the mother and her little demon, son, walked over to my checkout line. The boy was holding a box of crayons. After scanning everything with my best fake smile, all that was left were the crayons. The mom turned to him and said, "Come on, sweetie, let the nice lady scan your crayons. Mommy will give them right back." I tried convincing him to, but he just started screaming and crying even louder. The mom tried replacing the crayons with something else, but he threw it across the counter, almost hit me, and started punching the register machine. Now, I'm responsible for everything that happens at my station, so I looked straight at him and said firmly, "Hey. That's it. Just hey. And you know what?" He froze. Stopped screaming. Stopped crying. Just stood there, completely silent. But guess who wasn't happy? The mom. She glared at me and said, "Don't talk to him like that. He's just a child." I really wanted to reply, "Exactly. That's why you, the adult, should be showing him how to behave." But I just bit my tongue and finished the transaction. Afterward, my coworkers were trying not to laugh and told me I'd probably be in trouble with the department manager. But when I told him what happened, he just said, "Don't worry about it. Next time, just call me or one of the supervisors to handle it." So at least someone had common sense that day.